Hi, everybody. I'm Dale Pinkert. Welcome to LAR. A little pullback in the euro from the 1050 resistance zone. Here's drive 1, drive 2, perhaps a third drive. Could have an ABC correction in the yen. That would be a short in my view. And euro pound has come off from a second drive here. I think we're headed to 71.45. Who's in the house? How's everyone doing today? MRC, Ed Z, Jax, Abel, hello. Izzy, STE, welcome to LAR. Adenda, Skip, JM, Tillen, Alexandros, Fame. How's everyone doing today? Everyone doing all right? Guppy looks like it's breaking down. Talked about selling this pop to 85.20 or so. That's working. Please give me a Y if you could hear me and see my charts. Hi, Adinda. Anyone else around? Hey, Jack, Sinatra. Pipper, how are you? Big move in Aussie last night. I missed it. I thought we'd pull back one more time to 71. Hi, Fame. Any charts to share? Hello, Simon. I'm good. I'm as brilliant as a diamond. Good for you. Nice, Jax. I'm as brilliant as a diamond. You better put on your shades. What was the catalyst for that, Jack? I know Alexandros was looking for this in the Aussie and some other guy. Holly was long Aussie yesterday. What was the news for this candle here? What drove this candle? I still think crude's going to head down one more time for the third drive. It's trying to hold here. Employment, okay. You're the man, Alexander. I think the pound may work better than the euro. Yeah. The pound looks more like an ABC to me. ABC. Everyone thank Alexandros for his live trade here in euro and pound. I think he had another one. And this is on the euro, right into its clouds. I also believe I had 1050 as resistance, and Ricardo did. I'd love to see it pull back here to here, Alexandros. I'm a big buyer if we get back down towards these levels here. Looks like two drives. I'd like to see it pull back to 107.80, 108 again. Still think that any dollar strength should be sold into. Thank you, Alexandros. Hi, Khalid. How are you, buddy? Everyone thank Alex. Nice work. Nice Aussie call. Pound Swiss. Possible low. 49.30. Stop at 48. May extend to 160. That'd be a big one. Everyone thank D. Kadick for his Pound Swiss daily look. Some confluence of support and looks like moving averages there. Thank you, D. Kadick. Giving spirits here in our community, sharing their hard fought for knowledge with everyone. Pretty amazing. Hi, Happy. All is well. Hello, Izzy. I see another new handle, Hamu. How about a LAR welcome for Hamu? Make all our new handles feel at home. It's their new home. It's our trading home. Home in LAR, where the traders all become stars, where seldom is heard a discouraging word. We welcome new handles to LAR. You guys like that welcome song? Okay, 30. Yeah, it's either here or here, huh? 35 looks to be it. I think 35 looks to be it. Thank you, Alex. What, the welcome song? Didn't you like Didn't you like that welcome song, Jax? Izzy liked it. Anyone else like it? I can't even remember it to repeat it now. Welcome home. Yeah, I forgot it already. Where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and you can become a star in LAR. Thank you, Alex. Peg, what are you up to? MRC at Z. STE, welcome to LAR. I'm glad it's STE instead of STD. How about you guys? Are you glad it's STE? That we're welcoming to LAR instead of STD? JK, what's up? Happy? You take your LAR award to bed with you at night? Tillin, welcome back. Skip, welcome back. JM, how are you doing? I think a lot of big turning points happen on the Fed. Okay, looks good. So congratulations, everyone, on another great year that's coming to a close. Why don't we all share our biggest epiphany in the last year in regards to trading? What did we learn this year that we didn't know before we came into 2015? What did we learn about our trading that made us better in our lives? So does anyone know who our special guest may be today?
Hi, Dale.
Yes, hello. Is this Ivan?
That's right.
Oh, Ivan, it's very nice to meet you finally.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it.
So I believe we're going to be hosting, moderating a panel coming up, I believe, next Friday. Is that correct?
That's correct. You know, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be December the 18th. So I'm not sure whether that is Friday or Thursday, but yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity to actually get to understand great thinkers in the Forex arena and what are their thoughts going into 2016. It's been a roller coaster 2015, and I believe that 2016 it's also going to be very interesting, very interesting. So.
Well, if you think this was a roller coaster, you better buckle up. If you think 2015 was a roller coaster, I'm interested, Ivan, in the selection process. There are many contributors to FXStreet. What was the criteria for selecting the expert panel?
Well, I think the best person to ask about it is Mauricio, because he's actually the one responsible. But I have to say that I completely agree about the selection of those that are going to be speaking. I've always been an admirer of the work from Ashraf Laidi. I always tend to follow his opinions and his insights in the market, both in CNBC and Bloomberg. Then you've got Forex Live Adam Button. He has been an incredible contribution to the Forex market. He has taken Forex Live from a business that was actually growing, but still didn't have that much momentum, and he's managed to put together a great team of people that, and I believe that they are actually helping people day in and day out to become better traders. And then you've got Boris. Boris is the partner from Kathleen, and he's a great.
We share the same birthday, so he has to be okay.
There you go. I was expecting that you may share October 19. That happens to be my day, my birthday.
Oh, yes. So Geminis have the flexibility because we're schizophrenic to be
Right.
bullish 1 minute and bearish the next. So
Right, I'm balanced.
yeah,
So I always try to find that kind of midpoint. I don't like confrontations. I always find, or I want to seek that kind of equilibrium in my life, and I think that's a good input to have when facing the markets, when covering the markets, because you don't actually get to be too biased on one side or the other. So you actually always try to find the neutral point in your views, in your opinions, in your personal trading.
so how about you, Ivan? Your title is Chief Editor on Content for FXStreet. What's your
Yeah.
formal title?
My former title, I actually started first working at FXStreet about, if I'm not mistaken, it was 5 years and a half or 6 years ago. And
You were in Asia, right? You were kind of the head guy in the Asia section, right?
I used to until June or July when Gus, I believe you actually had a couple of interviews with Gus in the past.
Yeah.
Actually, Gus decided that he wanted to have a few changes in his career, and even though he still keeps working for FXStreet, he decided that it was time for him to change duties. And I was actually given this opportunity. I've been, before, in my prior post, I was actually the head of the Asian session. I'm originally from Spain, from Barcelona, but since I first was hired by FXStreet, I've been living in Asia, first in Thailand, where I spent about 2 years, and then
Wow. Did you love it there?
I did. I first lived in Phuket for about 6 months, and eventually felt a little bit out of place. So I decided to move to Bangkok, and I lasted about a year and a half until I met who became my wife. She's from Indonesia. She's from Bali. So in a way, accidentally, I ended up living in Bali, which, it may sound like a cliche, but when I first was introduced to Forex, it was also kind of an accident. I was working in London in a conference production company. I was actually a sales representative in the London office in the military section. So my work was actually engaged in high profile conversations with military generals, brigadier general, lieutenant general, majors, etc. So that I could convince them to come over to either London, Frankfurt, all across Europe, because we used to organize conferences, so they would be actually our perfect attendees. So we would put together both the speakers and the attendees. But then there was a turn of events, and actually my romance with London, unlike my romance with Forex, didn't last too long, because I come from a Mediterranean background. I always like kind of good weather, and London just didn't provide that to me. So I decided it was time to pack my bags and come to Asia.
Okay. Yeah, San Diego's weather isn't bad. That's one that I grew up in Chicago, and I wanted to escape that type of climate too.
Actually,
so you had a lot happen to you in the last few years. You went to Asia, a single man, and you found love and your soulmate, and you sound very passionate about the business. How about your impressions about what Laura has accomplished in the last 2.5 years?
It's been 2.5 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you. Well, before because you see, I've been working in the Asian session, so I didn't really gain that much insights into the average of people that you usually get on board on a daily basis. But from what I've been told, I believe that it has been a major achievement what LAR has meant for many traders, because nowadays we are at a technological era, and other than the fact that traders feel that the business can be very lonely, very solitary, on top of, you want to interact, you actually want to feel as if you are having this kind of consistent learning while trading. And what better place to put together traders from all walks of life, from all types of levels, with someone like yourself who happens to be a veteran of the markets, like you like to call yourself, I believe sometimes, a dinosaur, right? So you actually putting baby people that are making their first baby steps, and they are being provided an excellent mentorship by yourself. So I believe that it's an incredible opportunity. It's something that is a free resource. So I don't see why people wouldn't join it, wouldn't continuously join this opportunity to be part of it.
I always say that I'll wire refunds the same day if someone isn't happy.
There you go.
So I look forward to being one of the questioners with you this coming next Friday.
Yeah.
And you know, as you look ahead to 2016, I know we have a series of questions that we're considering asking people. What is the one answer that you want to hear, or a question that you really, it's burning in you and you want to know? None of us except for Nostradamus can predict the future, but what's your big question for 2016, Ivan?
There's many, I have to say. There's not going to be a very easy path for me to only just ask one question and be satisfied. So I just really want to ask really lots of interesting questions that at the moment are floating in my mind. But if I had to actually ask one question that at the moment I think is quite worrisome, and it actually means, I mean, it's been an inflicting point this year, and I believe that is the deflationary pressures that we are experiencing because of the oil decline that we've suffered this year, and how and what's their view on how we can get out of this vicious cycle where it seems like it seems very difficult, near to impossible, that inflations that are trying to be achieved in Japan, in Europe, even in the US, even though they might not be as notorious telling, or as vocal telling, hey, we need to meet the 2% inflation compared to the commitment that exists in Japan, etc. But I really want to understand what the view from Ashraf, from Boris, and from Adam is about how we can turn the corner, how can actually we can enter a transition from depressed prices into a more into an era where we can actually have a more encouraging outlook for inflation into 2016, 2017, and it may depend on the Saudis. It may depend on OPEC, whether or not they want to actually cut output, and that may actually be that might actually start setting the ball rolling. It might be because of tighter supply-demand labor conditions in certain countries, like in Japan, like in the UK, like in the US. We've seen that, and now we're starting to see whether or not you believe the data in Australia. We've seen in Australia another back-to-back blockbuster month in terms of employment, which to me, I mean, I was quite bewildered. The data we've seen in Australia equals to, in the last 2 months, equals to about 2 million people being employed in the US in the last 2 months. That's the quality of data that we've seen in Australia compared to that of the US, if we were to just compare in terms of data. So yeah, deflationary pressures, and what's their view on it.
Okay, I know I'm not one of the experts, but here's your answer: crush the dollar.
Actually, that's crush the dollar. Yeah, that's an interesting.
That will do it, Ivan.
That's an interesting point, and it is my view actually that after 12 months that the dollar has been on a consistent rise, and I think that those that have taken a step back and they're not really trading the noise of intraday, but they're actually trading the 4 hours, the daily. I think the US dollar bull trend has been one of the easiest trends. Of course, in hindsight, it sounds very easy to say that, but it's been an environment where people has been basically buying the dollar because they were just seeking yields, and there was obviously that expectation of a normalization of U.S. policy, and that all that hot money that went into Asia and all those emerging economies had to make its way back to the U.S. So obviously, the U.S. dollar has been rising in accordance with that view of, you know, the bond yields are going to be rising.
If it was that easy, everyone would be on the golf course. Okay, so the way I see it is it became such a crowded trade, and there's a very good possibility that was a major inflection point that we saw last Thursday, and at least for possibly a move back to 120 in euros. So I really think the test for commodities bottoming, turning the corner, is going to be what happens with the dollar, what happens with the yuan if we continue to have depreciation of the yuan. That's going to make it more difficult to reflate. But really, the dollar is the linchpin to everything. So if we can break the dollar,
I think just adding to your view, the rate hike in December, whether it happens or not, which I believe is going to happen, otherwise it could be defined as another kind of a not black swan event, but certainly is going to be a disappointment 2 or 3 fold what we saw the GCB doing the week before. But I believe that it's been priced. Basically, the US dollar now has little room to appreciate unless the Federal Reserve communicates to the market, telegraphs to the market, that there is going to be a consistent, steady pace on increasing rates, which is not going to happen. Why? Because the US is not justifying that. I mean, you actually get to see the US data, and other than a decent NFP report, I have to say, it wasn't that spectacular what we saw last week. It was at 211,000 versus 200,000. Yes, they've reached the 5% unemployment rate, but I always believe that the Federal Reserve has been in between a rock and a hard place, and they have been consistently delaying their hike. It was first expected in January, and then it came, okay, it's not going to be perhaps raised until April, May, spring, and then it was delayed until September, and then the expectations were pushed further into December. December, whether or not people accept it, I believe it's going to happen. But what happened next, that's what people care about. And what I believe is that Yellen and company in the Federal Reserve helm, I believe they actually going to be very cautious, and they're going to think themselves, look, we've done our job. And why? Because I believe the Federal Reserve, what they don't want is they don't want to abruptly raise rates in the future if the economic conditions happen to pick up significantly, which I don't believe they will in the short to medium term. I believe they're still going to be around 2%, which is below pre-financial crisis back in 2008. So it's going to be interesting, and I agree with your point, Dale. Actually, I think that the commodity prices, leaving aside the Canadian dollar, which I believe is going to be obviously more subject to what oil is going to behave into 2016, but I believe the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar being high-yielding currencies, and actually at present they still have higher yields than in the US. I believe that we might have actually found a bottom, and I have seen a few indications of that. I'm not sure if I can share my screen, but it will be interesting if I can share a.
Yeah, sure, Ivan. Go up to the left-hand side of the Hangout. You'll see a green box with an arrow.
Yeah.
Click that.
And then I've got 3 options. I suppose I gotta click on entire screen, right?
Yeah, the one you want to show, and then start. Because we already know how handsome you are.
Oh, you can see me, right?
I did. Now I'm seeing the FXStreet.
Right.
Okay,
I was Dale. I was expecting that you could make a comment about my brand new desk.
Your new what?
My new desk, because you just mentioned that you were seeing me.
All right. Here's my comment. May every drawer in your desk be filled with pips by the end of 2016.
Yeah, make that my pockets as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, you know, drawers are bigger than my pockets.
Absolutely, yeah, that more money will fit in it. Okay, so Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I do. Right now
Okay.
you're on.
Now
There we
you
go.
can see my cotbase.com. Yeah, this is a
Yes.
report that I tend to follow on a weekly basis. And even though people might think this is lagging because it is reported on Friday, even though the data is up until the Tuesday, so it's like say what three days delay.
Yeah.
I believe that it holds significant relevance, and I always keep an eye on it. Let me first zoom the screen. Now we have the Australian dollar here, and what I tend to follow, other than commercials, large speculators, and small speculators, separately I also tend to follow dealers, which happen to be net hedgers in the market, and those are like the market makers. Those
Where do
are
you get that information on dealers? Because all you get is you don't get dealers on the
No,
COT.
I actually get the dealers from, actually I put together the data, if you allow me. Look, you see, this is the data that I put together per each currency, and this actually comprises the open interest, specs,
Insider trading,
commercial.
Ivan. Insider trading. You know what the banks are doing.
Listen, you just can go to the CFT website, and you can actually just get the data. That's what I do.
Right.
And then what I do is I just crush the data in here. So I just introduce on a weekly basis. I introduce the data, but just for illustration purposes, I just want to show you this website, which it comes with a chart, so it's quite handy. A few weeks back, what we saw was that the commercials were starting to buy the Australian dollars on upticks. And that's actually something very significant, because as we know, market dynamics, as we know it, is that the commercials will always try to hedge by selling when the market is rising, and vice versa. And the large speculators, usually the hedge funds and those big boys working in banks, what we usually do is like they try to enter the trends when there is a correction in the market, rather than at expensive prices. So you could actually, you can see there, we're talking about mid-November. We saw that the Australian dollar, right around the 70 handle, we saw the commercials that is the red line uptick, just as the Australian dollar started to rise as well. So there was someone, and let's face it, the Forex market is full of insider information. Now, whether people from the public knows it or not, that's a whole different story. But don't tell me that someone at the top of BMW, a CEO or president, might, of course, they might have insider information from the ECB, or there might be some colleagues that have that information, and they perhaps receive privilege leaks about the ECB might not be as dovish, and then they start to either amass euros, or they sell euros based on what the outcome might be. And here in the Australian dollar was very interesting. Why? Because we saw that uptick, and ever since, and whenever that happens, that more often than not, that's a turning point in the market. Now, for how long it lasts, that's a whole different story. What we've seen is that commercials were interested, and when they do that, is because they are in a rush, they're in a hurry to actually buy Australian dollars, because they don't believe it's going to drop much further. So otherwise, they would just wait. They would just wait for the Aussie perhaps to just drop back to this double bottom, and then they can start amassing more Australian dollars. But they actually were buying on an uptick, and that's quite telling. Now, we've seen that run from 70 all the way to 74, and that's quite interesting, because obviously now this is a very important level of resistance, and whatever happens here, it will obviously depend on market dynamics, on data, and I'm a firm believer that it is really hard to forecast what might happen 6 months in advance to 12 months in advance. What I believe and what I tend to do is I adapt on a daily basis to what the market is telling us, and it's a big jigsaw, and that jigsaw, putting it together, is quite challenging. When you look at the 6 months prediction.
I'm glad you bring up jigsaw, because part of the jigsaw is understanding relationships and looking for market messages. And the COT is a great tool. I remember Steve Breeze started it in the 70s, publishing COT positions. You also could have just been perceptive enough to know that the Dixie was making new highs, successive new highs, and the Aussie was not making new lows, in fact had bottom in September. So the fact that the dollar was making new highs and the Aussie wasn't making new lows was a change, because every other time the dollar made a new high, the Aussie made a new low. So just seeing that there was relative strength in a
That's right.
pair is also a very good tool, and you have to compare what's the dollar doing. If they can't make new lows with the dollar going up, making new highs week after week, what would happen if the bid came out of the dollar?
Yeah, and what's going to be very interesting, Dale, it's something to be taken very seriously into account, is how the option market is going to be behaving going forward. And this is another sector that I tend to pay close attention to on a daily basis. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, that's a pearl. Those guys,
Right,
you know
so
what I
let
say
me.
about options, Ivan? Options are like relationships. 90% of them expire worthless. And the guys that make the consistent money, they write the option. So you're probably paying attention to certain strike prices and looking for where.
Actually, what I'm paying attention to, Dale, and I don't want to get too much into detail about all, because that's a whole different market, and the dynamics,
Yeah.
etc. But I think that is a good measure and a good barometer to sentiment and feeling about what the market makers are pricing going forward, about the value of a currency 1 month in the future, 2 months into the future, etc. Now, let's check for 1 second the Australian dollar, and this is what I'm expecting. And what I check is the delta. What I check is the 25 risk reversal delta in the currencies. So what that basically means is that basically is telling me whether the market makers are pricing the calls more expensive than the puts, or vice versa. And that's actually going to be very important for me to know and to understand. Why? Because these people, these market makers in the options market, they actually have brilliant minds, other than brilliant and very expensive algorithms that actually, when introduce the right inputs, which obviously they get, and they have templates where they actually put all the inputs, they will actually value a call and a put in a certain currency. And we can observe here the Australian dollar on a $25 on a 25 delta risk reversal bid ask on 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. It's all negative, and it's still quite negative. What that means is that the options market's still telling you, hey, if you want to own puts in the Australian dollar, you still have to pay a premium, quite much higher compared to the calls. And that's actually not changing quite just yet, okay? Because I'm telling
so
you,
we're not getting a confirmation on the move in the Aussie in the options market yet.
Yeah, but that's actually not sufficient. I mean, options is yet one more factor, and inside many other factors. And obviously, another factor is going to be whether or not we are going to see a bit of consistency on this data and on the fundamentals by the Australian. But look, the options market is a market that more often than not gets it right. Obviously, there might be volatile events that may change sentiment in the blink of an eye, and then what we saw with the Chinese equity market being on sharp declines on an average 5% per day. Obviously, the option market started to price extreme expensive calls for the yen within the space of a day or two. You know, it went from very bearish the yen into a very bullish view for the yen. So they're very adaptive. But what I'm telling you is that I'm still not getting that confirmation, and I haven't seen these deltas being reduced, being adjusted in favor of the Australian dollar just yet. So, you know,
Okay.
I will be cautious. Obviously, these signals that we get from commercials from bottoms around 70, that's an interesting sign, and we can see that 300, 400 pip swing, and that's been obviously great. Whoever could pick that up, and we'll see. I mean, this is again one more element that needs to be taken into consideration, and yeah, it's something that I pay a lot of attention, just as I pay attention to these curves down below, which it's telling you about implied volatility and the the historical volatility. So basically, what it's telling you at the moment, it's quite neutral, so it's not telling you much. But sometimes when there's a big divergence between implied and historical volatility, it can actually suggest whether or not there's going to be gamma scalping in place, or there's going to be more kind of a directional market. So, you know, these are concepts that are very interesting, but again, it's a complete different beast. And, you know, you obviously have to have knowledge about it to understand that.
Well, I'd like to wrap it with this, Ivan. Great to meet you. I believe that you're on the wrong side of the panel. You could be one of the experts. It was a great discussion. You brought up a lot of things that people could pay attention to, so you edified LAR today. Nice to meet you, and I look forward to working with you.
Absolutely. Look forward to have a great panel day next week. Yeah, and yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Okay, I've been good hunting, and let's do this. Let's get back together every once in a while, and your views are edifying. So appreciate meeting you today, and good hunting, and we'll be paying attention to things that perhaps we weren't before this conversation.
Okay, great, Dale. Thank you very much.
All right, Ivan. Good hunting, buddy.
Bye-bye.
It's Ivan Delgado at FXStreet, Chief Editor. I should have asked Ivan for his Twitter handle. Adinda, maybe you could get Ivan's Twitter handle and people could follow him on Twitter. You guys enjoy listening to Ivan? Thank you, Adinda. So perhaps Aussie's going to complete something since the option markets aren't saying anything, and maybe there's another shot down at 71 to buy it. I still think there's a possibility that we see 71. Maybe the Fed rate hike will take Aussie back down to 71. I would welcome this and back up the truck. So that's the area I'm looking to be long Aussie. I missed this pop, but there's still, potential for it to get back down here. I'm not going to short it. But if we get down to 71, I'll be looking to buy Aussie. Everyone doing okay? Fab, how are you? Ed Z, Planet, how's it going? Malcolm, hello. Ali, hello. Abel, Jax, there's a new handle. Joe, everyone welcome Joe to our community. Welcome, Joe. Izzy's here. Luimo's in the house. Hi, buddy. John 573 FX Trade, welcome to our community. So make these new handles feel at home. Emu, we welcomed. STE, JK, Monir, welcome Monir, Skip, JM, Tillin. Everyone doing okay? So still looking for one more break in the crude oil towards 36, 35. Stock market up a little bit. Yeah, I do. Nice one, Khalid. The better short, and I think it'll continue to be that way, is in the guppy. The guppy is the better short, which has a weaker pattern. I think you were smart to take profits. Congratulations. Khalid held this position, probably wasn't easy. With an A, B, and we're in a C wave here. Okay, everyone, there's Ivan's Twitter handle. I think I'll follow Ivan too. Everyone doing all right? I nominate DKDIC to be the man today for Euro Yen short. Congratulations, Khalid. You're the man. Use less leverage when you trade the market. Use wider stops so you don't get picked off. If you don't use less leverage, you'll lose your head. The account, it will be dead. Use less leverage when you trade the markets. Use wider stops so you don't get picked off. You don't use less leverage, you'll lose your head, your account. It will be dead. Use less leverage. Hard to play to myself. So I'm going to take a 5-minute break, everybody. Stick around. Still have another hour to go in the session. Waiting for this CAD setup. We're not there yet. So after the next plunge in crude, if we get it, I'll be looking for shorts above 137, maybe 138 in Canada. Everyone congratulate DKDIC on a successful short Euro Yen trade. I'll be back in 5. Hi, Holly. I'm back. Okay, I'll share what I know about it. So let's look at the euro. All right, well, basically, we could use this example that Ivan was talking about. You want to be on the side of the commercials, okay? They're the big money, but they also have deeper pockets than us. So you can't just take a trade, but it tells you at least not to be short, that the big money is buying. And you wanted the small spec, you want to be on the other side of it. You see how it was going down while the smart money was going up. So you want to fade this. I'm not sure about what to do with the large specs, but you want to fade the small spec and you want to go with the commercials. Does that help? Does that help? Okay. And congratulations to you, Holly, on your long Aussie trade from yesterday. I'm glad for you, Khalid. Khalid's pound Swiss is working. And everyone congratulate Holly on his long Aussie from yesterday. Nice trade, Holly. So that's about all I know about the COT, commitment of traders. But I've made the mistake of sometimes just going with the commercials, and they can be early, okay? But they have deep pockets. Yeah, it looks like you're going to get it. I'm hoping for one more shot down. It's probably just a hope. I'm still hoping that maybe this was A, and we're getting some kind of B here in the Aussie, and that we could get a C wave down to 71. That's what I'm hoping for. Because this still could be a failing rally here. You know, we've retraced about, 61.8 right here. So if we get something like this from here, it could take us down to 71. You don't have to agree with me because, yeah, we could just keep blowing to the upside. But give me a Y if you understand what I'm saying here. I'll address it. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm not shorting it, but I know what I'll do down there. Capiche? I'm not shorting it. I shorted it here. I'm not yeah, see what I mean? Well, I'm just providing live analysis. You know why? Because this is a live analysis room. Everyone doing okay? So if you think that's a possibility, Holly, what you could do is take partial profits. You're not going to go broke taking half off here. I'm just mentoring you. If it keeps going, you're still there. If it pulls back, you're not giving it all back, and you can recommit with profits. You know what I mean? If you take half off, you're still there if it keeps going. And if it does pull back, you're recommitting if you still like it with profits rather than principal. Just money management. Has nothing to do with forecasting or trading. It's strictly money management, which has everything to do with trading. What you got, Decadic? An update on that pound Swiss? So yeah, that would come back to your breakout of the Aussie. Oh, this is the euro. It's the Aussie. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Thank you, Khalid. Maybe it happens after the Fed. Thank you, Khalid. Okay. Nice look, Decadic. Nice look. Everyone doing okay? Anyone know who our guest speaker is today for our regular interview? Does anyone know? I'm going to be interviewing Forex Stop Hunter. I'm going to be interviewing Dale Pinkert today in about 15 minutes. Looking forward to interviewing myself. Anyone else looking forward to watching, hearing me interview myself? I've never tried it before. This is a first. Tomorrow we'll have Martin Armstrong. How about that, guys? Mauricio got Martin Armstrong is going to be with us tomorrow. A must for your macro intelligence gathering is Martin Armstrong at Armstrong Economics tomorrow. So we had a couple of real good interviews. Nicola Duke called the yen crash. So let's just think about the interviews we had, right? The other day we had Nicola Duke, and I asked her about the yen, and she said it was a short and it crashed, right? Same day, had Norm Winsky talking about a high in the S&Ps. This day, decline underway. So, Nicola Duke called the short side of the yen. Norm Winsky, so far, has called the high of the S&Ps. What do you guys think of that? Do my guess edify or what? What about Norm? Norm hit on the planet. He's saying the stock market's down into Christmas, which was very contrarian to everyone looking for a Santa Claus rally. Down into Christmas. On the first day of Christmas, Norm Winsky brought to me a high in the S&P. No, that was more like the third day of Hanukkah. On the first day of Christmas, Norm Winsky brought to me a high in the S&P. You guys like that? What do you think, Luimo? You're very welcome, Happy. Glad to serve. But that's part of LAR, live analysis, not just from us, but bringing the best of the best to build up and edify traders every day. That's my mission statement, to build up and edify traders every day. You guys think I do it? No, I will. I didn't read it. $10 minutes earlier today, too? Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it, producer Adinda. Got it. Everyone doing all right? So I'm thinking that if we get an ABC in the end, this is ABC for A, and this could be B, and maybe we rally back to 22 and a half. That would be, he's not going to be here. He never responded to me. No Ahmeds. No Ahmed today. Martin Armstrong tomorrow. That's show business. Sometimes I book people well in advance, and then sometimes they don't respond when it's, hi, Luca. Everyone welcome Luca to LAR. How about a warm LAR welcome for Luca? How you doing, Skip? Tillin, how are you? No semi-log gold, welcome. Everyone welcome. I'm going to call you semi-log. Welcome, semi-log. Everyone welcome, semi-log. Stand by for our interview today. Special guest, Dale Pinkert. He's starting this interview in about 3 minutes. Stand by for our interview. Hi, Armand. How are you? You got your target in pound kiwi. Congratulations. You got your 130. Everyone congratulate Forex Czar. Nice trade. Kiwi, I meant. Nice trade. Way to go, Armand. That was GBP NZD looking for 230. Mission accomplished. Sometimes Rick takes a day off. So Armand's trying the long side of pound Kiwi again. Broke hard. Yeah, you have some nice divergence here, Armand. It's under 30, though. There might be one more test of it. Thank you, Armand. Okay, everyone ready for today's interview? Give me a Y if you are. Everyone ready for today's interview? Good hunting, Armand. Okay, everybody, here we go. Hello, Dale. Welcome to LAR. I want to thank you so much for your time, for joining us today here in LAR. Dale, I always like to start at the beginning. Can you tell us how you got involved in the industry, how you began to get involved in the markets, and tell us a little bit about the beginning of your journey? Sure, Dale. Thank you very much for having me here today. It started after I graduated from college, Northern Illinois University in 1975, which our country was in the midst of a recession. I was a journalism major, and so I was interested in possibly writing or doing PR for a company. Speech was my minor, but when I came out, the only jobs or careers that were available at that time were basically in sales for big insurance companies, et cetera, which really didn't turn me on. So I had a friend from high school who I talked to on the phone. He said, you know what, Dale? You ought to come down to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and check it out. And so I decided to do it. And I got dressed and I got on the train. And I took the L downtown. And I'm walking around this building. And I'm looking for a trading floor. And I can't find it. So I asked somebody, yes, can you tell me where the trading floor is? And they said, what? The trading floor? You're at the Chicago Merchandise Mart. And I went, oh boy, I'm at the Merchandise Mart. That's where all the wholesalers had showrooms to sell their goods to stores and retailers, et cetera, et cetera. So I was thinking about it. Oh man, I ended up in the wrong location. Maybe I'll just go home and go check out the Merc another day. But I was driven, and I got back on that train and found the CME. I went up to the gallery where you get a whole view of the floor and you see all the trading rings and pits and you hear the noise. And all of a sudden there was a big roar on the floor and the pork belly market went fast market. And I see these guys in a frenetic buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. And I go, wow, this is amazing. You know, I went to college in the middle of the cornfields in DeKalb, Illinois, but I never thought about commodities. You know, it wasn't even in my mind at all. But when I saw the floor and the energy that was on the floor, I became very, I would say, motivated. And I said, I don't know what's happening here, but I'm sure glad I'm here. I'm going to check it out. So my friend Gary got me a guest pass so that I could go onto the trading floor. And I just started walking around from desk to desk, desk to desk. All the big brokers had their trading operations on the floor with banks of phones and teletype machines. And I'd go up and go, you know, I really don't care what the pay is. I just want to learn. And I did that a few times. And then I went to the trading operations of Dean Witter. For those of you old timers, you may remember the name. At one time they bought Sears, and you could go to Sears and buy a vacuum cleaner and open up a stock account with Dean Witter. And this man, John Greco, saw that I wanted to learn and could tell that I might be a hard worker. So Dean Witter hired me as a runner. And my duties were, it was a part-time job, just market hours. It paid, take a guess how much they paid me. $75 a week to take paper, the orders written up by clerks, to different pits, either to wait, they could be market orders, they could be price orders, they could be stop loss orders. And back then, they just started the international monetary market and they were trading currencies on a chalkboard. So I learned my way around the floor where the different pits were and just enjoyed being there. And it was a big community of people. It was very social. The floor was also very social. So you got to know people. And I decided I wanted to learn, how do you know where to buy something and where to sell something? So the CME was offering a course in technical analysis, and I signed up for the course being taught by a man named Alan Rohrback. You could still find Alan's around. He's on Twitter. And our textbook for the course was Technical Analysis of Stock Trends. And I'm going, hey, I don't want to learn how to trade stocks. I want to learn how to trade commodities, I told Alan. So Alan taught me that a head and shoulders in IBM is like a head and shoulders in cattle, that a chart is a chart is a chart, And the only difference is leverage and volatility, or beta. So that was my Bible. I learned about continuation formations, reversal formations, wedges. I learned about gaps, breakaway gaps, runaway gaps, measuring gaps, exhaustion gaps. So I started charting the markets, and really didn't have enough money at that time out of college to really set up an account. But I knew some of the brokers in the gold pit. They just started trading gold. It became legal for U.S. citizens to own gold again in 1975. And I put on a gold short. A floor trader put it on for me. Gold went from 200 to 100. I didn't ride it all the way down, but my first trade was a winner. There is a superstition that turned out to be a little bit, I would say, prophetic, that it was bad luck for your first trade to be a winning trade. Yeah, I didn't believe it. But I did have my struggles, okay, for many years of trying to stay alive, support myself in this industry as a young guy, okay? So as a runner, I couldn't even afford to have my own apartment. You know, you have your freedom in college, and then you come home and try and find a way to make a living to start your life. I was working at the Merc and living with mom, okay? So that's how I got started, and that's how I began charting. And after that, I decided to become a broker. And Alan, who taught the course, was with a commodity brokerage firm called Madoff & Sons. So they sponsored me to take my Series 3 exam, and the rest is history. I became a registered rep, a Series 3 commodities broker for Madoff & Sons. And if I went out and told you every winding, curving road that I went through from there, it would take us about 4 hours for us to reconstruct my life. So that's how it all began for me. So I hope that you guys, your audience now can have an understanding of that I started like them, not with any material wealth, but just a desire to learn the industry, to learn how to trade, to learn how to be a good technician. I carry my chart book around with me everywhere I went. It had food, you know, ketchup and mustard stains on it, coffee stains on it. I'd turn it around. I'd draw lines that no one else could see. And that's how it all began for me. Well, thank you, Dale, for sharing that with us. So if you don't mind, perhaps you could share your screen with us, and you could tell us a little bit about what you do in LAR and what kind of trading you're involved in. Perhaps you could do that right now. So, okay, thank you, Dale. LAR is one of the most beautiful experiments I've ever been involved in. I have moderated, trained traders in chat trading / trading rooms for many years, where it was mainly up to me to generate the ideas. I had to overcome that if I didn't know something, to realize I'm better off boring people than misleading them. I did get communities and other traders to collaborate and share their ideas. Then about 5 years ago, I started doing webinars on FXStreet and came up with the idea of having a live analysis room where traders share their ideas, where I could go out and interview some of the best traders, analysts, money managers on the globe, because it would be non-competitive. I'm not selling anything to people that are members of LAR. I'm just bringing good content and information to them, and some of my teachings and teachings of the community and the sharing of knowledge and ideas together. So that's what we've been doing in LAR for the last 2.5 years. I have many people that began with us 2.5 years ago that still come. They may take time off, and it's interesting when regulars aren't around. There will always be a question: where's Alien? Where's Ricardo? Where's Armand? So it really is a community, because if it wasn't, people wouldn't miss traders, members, friends, whatever label you want to put on it. When they're not there, it would just be, oh, everyone's replaceable, and I don't care if I ever hear another idea from Ricardo, or I don't care if I hear another idea from Goldie. And we have really created a mastermind group of people that come in every day willing to share their hard-fought knowledge, which costs them emotionally, which costs them financially, and yet they come in here and they share this knowledge without receiving anything in return except the feeling that they're helping others. So that's what I do in LAR. Wow, what a great project, Dale. So we had a major move last week when Draghi disappointed. I was wondering if you could give us your view on what you think is happening here. Take a look at a few different instruments and tell us what your views are going forward into the Fed next week. Sure, Dale, I'd be happy to do that. I like to start with some daily charts. And to me, it looks like risk off is occurring here, where we have a failing rally in the S&Ps. If you just draw a trend line off here, it looks like under yesterday's low, we could correct at least to 1940. The big story is something that I had forecasted in the room for well over 5 days, maybe a few weeks, that the dollar was vulnerable, that you couldn't find anyone saying where the euro could go on the upside. All you heard about were downside targets. So I started getting divergences in the dollar index right here. And then we have the big event. I believe this is a pretty important inflection point right here. 97 was the breakout, so we almost got to it yesterday. And it's my view that we're going to have this move from par 50, this is about 3.5, 330 from here is going to take us down towards 94.50, 94. Those are my targets going into 2016. Euro pound, I call the right shoulder before that occurred. The crude oil has everyone's eyes focused on the crude. I actually think that there's not the final bottom, but a bottom setting up here in crude. Over the next several trading days, many Larians have shown a 35, 36 potential target for the crude. Here's your crude oil daily. So we're getting into this grinding territory, capitulation here. And when I go to my crude chart, use FX Pro's platform here. I'm looking for one more drive down here, possibly 36, 35 in the next several days, which I think will set up a pretty interesting counter trend opportunity. And with that, I think that we could be looking for potential highs in USD CAD. There's glaring divergence on the weekly Canada here. I teach 3 drive formations. Here's 1, here's 2, and now we're in the 3rd. RSI is the 2nd lower peak, so looking for reversal signals and a potential correction in USD CAD with a reflex rally coming in the crude oil market, and using dollar strength into the Fed if the dollar rallies into the Fed right after the Fed, using dollar strength to sell into it. And that's what I see going forward. Well, Dale, I want to thank you for interviewing me today. It's my hope that you continue your great work with LAR, that you continue to build up and edify people the way you've been doing for the last 2.5 years. And let's get together and do this real soon, like right after this interview is over. I'm going to turn it over to you now, Dale. Good hunting to your community, Forex Stop Hunter, and I'll see everybody real soon. Adios. Did everyone enjoy that interview with Forex Stop Hunter? Everyone, oh yes, Dale told me the Stop Hunter nickname was when I was a runner. Every once in a while when yeah, I do too. 37, yeah. So when I brought out orders as a runner that had STP at the end of it, I noticed the brokers really paid attention to those orders with stop after it. And every once in a while, they'd run the buy or sell stops. There'd be a big roar on the floor. And I noticed that was at least a short-term turning point. So they'd run the buy stops and sell into them, and run the sell stops and buy into it. And that's how I believed that there were stop hunts when I saw it in person. Thank you for your loyalty, Abel. Thank you, Fab. That was a first. Everyone doing okay? Gold is comatose, sideways. Everyone doing okay? You're welcome, Luca. Nice to meet you. Moshin, welcome back. Okay. That's what makes a market. Maybe you're right. I'm starting to get some short-term divergences here on Canada. I need a new high. I need it to take out this high. It could be ABC before a new high, but I still think we'll take out that high. 2.5 years. Did you? I've never tried that before. Did it work? Self-talk, huh, Luimo? Maybe you're right, Holly. I really don't see myself doing a lot until the Fed next week, okay? because if it's a nice inflection point, yeah, he's very shy. See, so you're welcome. The road less traveled, I took it. Okay. The reason I think it is because it was a confirmed high on the 1 hour. It was confirmed on the 4. I'm not saying we can't put in a flag like Holly's talking about. A, B, C, and C could travel back to 35 or so, but I still think this high will be violated. See the RSI here? Yeah, he's a decent singer. Yeah. See that RSI reading? See the high? That's a confirmed high. Yeah. I want to see a non-confirmation, not a confirmed highs. So there are many ways to skin a cat. I have to stick with my work. You could be right, Holly. It all depends on your time frame. Yeah, he can sing. Pardon me. You like him very, you like yourself? So Fab says I'm a good singer. Here's Dale singing at the Coyote Grill, the Coyote Bar and Grill. That's me singing. So we're going to be closing up 10 minutes early. There's another broadcast following this session. Enjoyed collaborating with everyone today. Thought it was an excellent interview with Ivan. A decent okay with Pinkert. A decent interview with Pinkert. Stock market flying again. Everyone doing okay? You're welcome. Motion, how are you? JK, Himu, I hope we're adding value to your trading experience here at FXStreet. Same to you, JK and JM. Hope you enjoyed your time with us today, Motion and Monir and Skip and Tillin, Izzy, Ali. Everyone doing all right? So we're setting up this buying opportunity in EG. Might even look for it here. Any other looks before I say goodbye to everyone? Thank you, JM. Going to give Adinda time to set up for the next program. Yeah, it keeps diverging too. See that? You're welcome, Adinda. So let me thank everyone individually. Thank you, Holly. I think you're a great addition to our community. Nice work, ForexR. Armand, on your pound kiwi. Good luck on your second trip around. JM, thank you. Happy, thank you. Luimo buddy, Able buddy, Fab, Luca, MRC, Ed Z, Planet. Always good to see your handle in here. Doug, welcome. Semi-log, FXStreet, welcome. See you guys tomorrow. Hamoud, JK, Khalid, Malcolm, Jax, Abel, Ali, Abel, again, John, 573, STE, Motion, Pegasus, Malcolm, Monir, Skip, Tillin, all my trading warrior brothers and sisters. Good hunting the rest of the day, and I'll see everyone tomorrow. If you like what Laura's doing for you and you're non-US resident, establish an account with our sponsor, FX Pro, and tell them Dale sent you. You too, buddy. Thank you, Armand. Sinatra, take it easy, my friend. Okay, everyone. Adios.